Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another Flower Power Live. The beautiful flower for today is one that's going to require some poetry because it has been much loved and cherished by humans for centuries. And as we can see, not only is it beautiful, but it is also nourishing and somewhat powerful in its sort of herbal uses. And our flower for tonight is violet. My name's Allison from the Well Cultivated Life, and thank you for joining me here for Flower Power, where I get to share all this super fun plant wisdom with you. And today we have some historical things to talk about. But let's start with a quick little poem. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new come spring? And that's a quote from William Shakespeare. And during that time period, the Victorian or the earlier, not the Victorian, the Elizabethan time period, there was a lot of love for violets as well as historically into the past, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But today is May 2nd, and for many of you, violets may have already bloomed and faded where you live, but we're having an especially cold spring. I'm wearing a sweater on May 2nd, okay? We're having a cold spring here in northern New England. And so the violets are just starting to bloom in my yard now. And the funny thing is that I've been wanting to do a show on violet because it is the viola species is the herb of the year according to the International Herb Society. Every year they pick up an herb plant that is sort of celebrated throughout the year. And I thought, oh, well, I was going to try to do this a couple weeks ago. But then I find out, well, that usually this is actually the week of the year that the herb of the year is celebrated. And so I guess we're just right on time. Now, this includes, of course, the pansy as well as any of the violets. And again, this plant has been celebrated because it has just this beautiful, delicate flower. And I did pick a few from my yard. And it often will grow in very subtle ways. It'll be hiding in the grass, and it's sometimes hard to see. And when you pick it, it has these, you'll notice it has these very, very little teeny tiny stems on it. So it's no wonder that it's been called the withering or gotten the name of withering because I just picked these right before the show, but I can't imagine how long they're going to last with those teeny tiny little stems drawing up water. Now, the violet odorata, which is the plant that is famous for the scent, is actually native to Europe, as are the heartsease pansies. I did a show on heartsease pansies, I don't remember when, last year, I think, which I'll link at the end of this show. But these are not native to North America. There are about 40 to 50 different varieties that grow here in this, again, North America. And so the most common one is what we call common blue pansy, or not pansy, violet, which is this little blue one here. And then there is one that's kind of, I couldn't tell, it's like a little escaped one or one that's crossed with another one. And it's this white one with the little purple center in it. And those are the two most common varieties that you find around here. Now, there are a bunch, like I said, a bunch of others. And what happens is they many of them are endangered and so or threatened, and so you have to really be careful when you're going out to harvest. Just because you might see a big patch of them, because they do kind of spread by underground roots, doesn't mean that you should be harvesting a whole bunch of those. So just make sure that what you're harvesting is not a threatened species. And anytime you're wild harvesting, you should always be very careful to leave more than you take, to make it look like you haven't really been there. And take the small enough quantities just for your use. All right, it's time for another little poem. Violet is for faithfulness, which in me shall abide, hoping likewise that from your heart you will not let it slide. And that is from this book here, Forget Me Not, a Floral Treasury. And this is a collection of all the different meanings of flowers that were so popular during the Victorian era. People would make these bouquets, especially for courtship, or sometimes to say something mean, with all different flowers in it, and each flower had a different meaning. And so the violet has this meaning of sort of modesty and faithfulness. But according to what she says, it says a sweet scented violet was an ancient flower of love chosen by the Greeks for its perfume as Aphrodite's flower. Sometimes these timorous or retiring girls are frequently called the shrinking violets, and the plant has long been associated with modesty and faithfulness. It was Queen Victoria's favorite flower and also Napoleon Bonaparte's. And apparently, when he was in exile, his followers would wear little violets on their lapels in order to be able to identify each other, and they're kind of like a secret sign there. Now, historically, it was used a lot during ancient times for headaches, melancholia, and insomnia. It was used, it was said that if you wore a crown of garlics on your, a crown of violets on your head, that it would absorb all of the wine fumes and you would not get as drunk and you wouldn't have a hangover. So who knows that if that's true or not. It was also used, they would steep it in goat's milk and then use it like a face wash to help with the complexion. And there are a lot of other uses as well. This is a good plant to have and to collect in the spring. Now, the violets are referred to as nature's vitamin pill by Ewell Gibbons, the famous wild foods person that I love. I love all his books. And I have a cup serving of violets has the leaves will have as much vitamin C from 4 oranges and also more of your RDA of vitamin A. So it's very nourishing. And one of the most common ways to preserve violets, because they bloom for a short period of time in the spring and you got to run out and collect them right away, is that you can make a violet syrup. And so there's different ways you can do it. You can literally just almost make a tea where you pour the water over the violet. Other things like elderberry, you're going to boil and simmer the berries for a while to make a juice out of them. But in this case, it's such a delicate flower that just pouring the hot water over it, or you can even use like a cold infusion of it, strain it off, and then you can just use that as your sort of add sugars or however you want to do it to either make just a syrup, or you can make it into a jam or a jelly as well. Now, some people will take these, go through the tedious act of doing it like a sugared or candied violet flower. That is not my style. That's just too tedious for me. Now, I harvested this bowl today. I'm letting it wilt a little bit and get a little bit of the moisture out. And then I'm going to be making a glycerite, which is a sweeter, more delicate kind of extract. You wouldn't really want to make this. I suppose you could with the leaves, but you wouldn't really want to make this into like an alcohol extract. It just doesn't really go with the lovely delicacy of the violet flower. Now, there are other sort of medicinal uses of violets, and those include lots of different things. It's very, according to Jim McDonald, it's cooling and moistening on your body's systems. And so that helps with if you have like a dry cough or a bronchitis or something like that. So it's been used in that way. And it's primarily a demulcent. Again, this is this like rich, soothing type of moisturizing sort of action. But it's also an alterative, which means that it encourages your different body systems to eliminate waste. And for that reason, and especially because it's coming out fresh in the spring, it has been used as part of a spring cleanse tonic, just like a lot of the other plants that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Now, Matthew Woods says it has an affinity for the lymph system, especially if you have swollen glands up around here and the throat and eyes. And also it is a moistening remedy for the kidneys, bladder, arthritic deposits, and of course, skin, specifically if you have eczema. And one of the things that's kind of cool about it, and let me show you some quick pictures here. Here are some, this is that, I can't remember what they called it. It's like a introduced species or a cross species. Blue violets, and then there's some that are a little bit more purple that you can see, and then this one here you can see the shape of the flower or the leaves very nicely. But see these little the roots on this one, you can just kind of see how they kind of spread out, and if you had a close-up look of it, you would see it has these little nodules on it. And so one herbalist, Dorothy Hall, was saying how she had an effect, or she had a positive experience using it because of this idea of what's called the doctrine signatures, where the look of the plant reflects what it might actually do for your body. And it looks like the little nodules of the like the lymph glands of the lymph system. So she was proving, oh yes, this matches up with what she had seen. And apparently it is an excellent remedy for cancer treatment, specifically helping because with breast cancer, because there's so many lymph nodes in and under here. So if you're cleaning out the lymph, and then apparently that's helpful for that as well. Now, the next thing that I wanted to share with you, I want to share this. So again, everyone's very familiar with the look of the pansy, and you can see how that is similar to how it's definitely a cousin of our lovely violet. Okay, so next I want to share with you the flower essence, which is of course my true love, the flower essences. And according to Flower Essence Services, I found this lovely thing that they wrote about it, which it says describes the violets as they're full of fragrance when you meet them up close, bending or lying down. They are easy to miss when walking by. Light, and that is very similar to the type of person who benefits from the violet flower essence. These people have many gifts that are overlooked by others. They're sensitive and highly perceptive, but they hold back from like kind of putting their gifts out there to the world for fear of being, misunderstood. Nobody wants to be misinterpreted or misunderstood. So they have these positive qualities, but they're often very shy, which makes them appear aloof, which makes people think, what's the matter with you? So Ostara Apothecary says that violet helps you open up to all the joy, peace, and love that is in life. It gently dissolves any barriers, reservations, or shyness, and helps you make connections from a place of warmth and confidence, perfect for anyone wanting to open up and show the world who they truly are. So I think we probably all know some people like this. And One Willow Apothecary says that violet opens a space of deep self-acceptance and contentment with one's life. Calming and maternal, this unassuming flower helps nurture true self-appreciation. It encourages us to appreciate ourselves and take good care of ourselves. And one thing she says is that it helps us separate the negative feelings of loneliness, because a violet type person tends to be kind of a loner or be alone a lot. It separates the feelings of loneliness from the incredible gift of aloneness. How many people in this day and age do not spend any time alone? We might be alone, but we've constantly got to the TV or the media or things going on. And so it helps us really to just appreciate that being alone does not mean that you have to be lonely, because it is a very big gift to us for sort of knowing more about ourselves. Okay, so our oracle card for today is from the Green Witch Oracle by Cheralyn Darcey. And it says in here that a period of advancement and breaking free is now open to you. Adaptation may be necessary. However, a greater depth of meaning, loyalty, and truth is inspired by the appearance of violets. Secrets are safe, and those you hold closest are also afforded this protection. So what this card is suggesting is that regardless of kind of what's going on outside of us, we can feel confident that returning to this kind of deep, I forgot to say, the word is tranquility, right? So tranquility, we can return to this deep place within us. It's safe to do that. And we don't need to be defensive or worried about what's going on in the world around us. We can return to this sort of like tranquil pool within ourselves. And, violet is a beautiful and delicate flower. It's got this subtle scent. Again, if the violet odorata is the one with the real strong scent, perfume type of scent. And so what it's saying is that we all possess this beauty, and some of us are better at hiding it than others. And so what happens is at the end of the show, if you watched any of my shows for a while, you know that I give a suggestion for the message from the plant and something you might do this week for yourself. But today, what I'd like to suggest is that you try to do something for someone else. And again, the word is tranquility, and it's from this kind of serene, undisturbed place that you can go to, that you can allow, you can kind of notice someone who is a violet person. Do you know somebody like this that could really benefit from just being noticed and appreciated for the gifts that they might be too shy to actually share out into the world? So again, instead of thinking so much about something you could do for your own personal growth, think about someone that might benefit from you bringing a tranquil, calm feeling into their lives and allowing them to, again, come out of their shell a little bit and share their true beauty within them. Now, I want to share one more quote because it's like the quote kind of a show today. And this is a writing from Mary Russell Mitford, and it was in the 1800s. And she's talking about going out into the woods in the springtime with a gathering basket to collect violets in the springtime. And this is what she says. Now, a few yards further, I reach the bank. Oh, I smell them already. Their exquisite perfume steams and lingers in this moist, heavy air. Through this little gate, along the green south bay of this wheat field, and they burst upon me, the lovely violets in tenfold loveliness. The ground is covered with them, white and purple, enameled in the short, dewy grass. They lie by hundreds, by thousands, coming upon me in such a sudden and luxuriant glory of simple beauty. So I hope you will, or I hope you have enjoyed the beauty of violets this spring. And if not, see if you can get out and find some violets around where you live. So that's our message from Violet tonight. Thank you so much for joining me here for Flower Power Live. And I will be back next week for another show, another plant. See you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.